Um, I'll take the opportunity to introduce Dr. Neelam Ori, who has come from Varanasi to give her talk. Dr. Neelam Ori is the Medical Director at New Life Rotunda Advanced Fertility Center at Varanasi. She's the President of Varanasi Obscanic Society. She's a keen clinical researcher and author of numerous articles and a peer reviewer of the Journal Obscanic, Journal of India. She has presented numerous papers in national and international conferences and conducted various workshops. Her recent research work focuses on IUI conversion to IVF using GnRH antagonist. I call upon her on stage to deliver the first talk of the day. Thank you, ma'am.
A very good morning to all of you. It's really an honor and pleasure to present this talk on IUI conversion to IVF, indications and rationale. And at the very outset, I would like to thank the organizers, Dr. Gautam, Dr. Goral and Sulabha, for giving me this opportunity to interact with you all. So friends, as we all know, IUI is considered as the first line treatment in unexplained and mild male factor fertility. And many studies suggest that controlled ovarian hyperstimulation in IUI might improve the monthly fecundity rate simply by increasing the number of oocytes available for fertilization and implantation. It may also correct some subtle endocrine dysfunction associated with ovulation. But in case of high responders, this COH may expose women to the risk of multiple pregnancy and OHSS, and cancellation of the cycle where necessary is the important treatment modality in such cases. The indication for cancellation of the cycle had been high estradiol levels, but mostly it is the number of follicles that generally have been used as indication for cancelling a cycle. And studies have suggested that when there are more than 4 follicles larger than 14 millimeter on the day of SCG, multiple follicles can develop. We have limited options to save the cycles, like intense monitoring of the cycle. Even this may not help, and ovaries may produce many more eggs. Adjustment of the dose of gonadotropins also may not help much. Studies have suggested aspiration of the supplementary follicles followed by IUI, but again this is an invasive procedure. We have a viable option to save such cycles, and this is conversion of this stimulated IUI cycle to IVF. This may eliminate the cancellation of the cycle, which is really a frustrating problem to both the clinician and the patient and imposes psychological and financial burden. Advent of GnRH antagonist made it practical and possibly safer to convert such cycles to IVF instead of cancelling them. Studies have suggested, and a recent Cochrane review of 2011, that the probability of live birth after ovarian stimulation for IVF does not depend on the type of analog used for pituitary suppression. Many studies which studied the efficacy of such conversion, they found that it is a safe and effective strategy. And the studies which compared the two groups, they found that the clinical pregnancy rates were similar between the two groups. And it is a fact that conversion from IUI to IVF uses lower doses of gonadotropin, and by this the implantation rate can be increased and cost can also be lowered. Again, there is a finding that E2 levels in such conversion cycles was significantly lower than the regular IVF groups, and studies have suggested that high levels of E2 may increase uterine contractions and thus adversely affect the IVF implantation rate. These rescue IVF cycles seem to be mild stimulation protocol that is cost effective compared with the standard strategy of IVF. The implantation rate was found to be high in such conversion IUI to IVF group, and this may lead to multiple pregnancy, and which could only be prevented by single or double embryo transfer policies in place. We conducted a study on IUI conversion to IVF using GnRH antagonist at our center, New Life Rotunda Advanced Fertility Center, Varanasi. In this, our prospective case control study between 2011 to August 2013, we examined whether these high responders in IUI have a higher pregnancy rate as matched IVF controls. High response stimulated IUI patients opted to convert to IVF using GnRH antagonist. We then compared their clinical outcomes with matched patients from high response IVF cycles of the standard long mid-luteal GnRH agonist protocol. The main outcome measures were characteristics of controlled ovarian hyperstimulation and IVF results, clinical pregnancy rates and implantation rates, number of antagonist ampules used and clinical pregnancy rates, and comparative cost of the treatment. The study group comprised of 15 women scheduled for IUI and having a high response during gonadotropin cycle, who subsequently underwent IVF using GnRH antagonist. In control group, we randomly selected 23 women with similar demographic and endocrine characteristics using the same period and excluding any bias. They were included in control group. We excluded women with low ovarian reserve. Indication for stimulated IO cycles were unexplained or mild male factor infertility, large proportion 13 out of 15 being clomiphene resistant PCOS women. Stimulation protocol for IUI, we followed this standard protocol and beginning from day 2, and the goal was to obtain 2 to 3 follicles of 16 to 18 millimeter at the time of SCG. High response was defined as more than 4 follicles measuring more than 14 millimeter on day 5 to 6. Patients with high parameters were offered cycle cancellation or conversion to IVF as options. Nearly all patients who were offered this option proceeded with conversion to IVF. A GnRH antagonist was added, gonadotropin dose was adjusted, and when at least 3 follicles reached 17 millimeter or more, then recombinant SCG 500 was scheduled and OPO was carried out 35 to 36 hours later. For IVF patient, we followed the standard mid-luteal long agonist protocol. Luteal support was the same in both the groups, and we defined clinical pregnancy and hospitalized OHSS. When we compared the baseline parameter, the age, body mass index, duration of infertility, baseline FSH, LH, AMH, and estradiol, they were comparable in both the groups. This is ongoing study, so we could not take out the P values, but as it seems, they are comparable. Then we studied the controlled ovarian hyperstimulation characteristics, and we found that the smaller follicles, less than 14, they were same in both the groups. However, the mature follicles were more in IVF or control group. The E2 levels were also more in control group, although endometrial thickness and progesterone levels was almost same in both the groups. The total FSH used was higher in control group, and the mean number of ampules of antagonist used was 3.26. The retrieved oocytes were more in control group, and mature oocytes were also more in control group, but when it came to fertilization rate, it was almost comparable in both the groups, and we transferred 2 to 3 embryos in both the groups. Then we compared the IVF results, and we found that the clinical pregnancy was very high in the test group, and that was almost 40%, and the implantation rate was also significantly high with the control group. Then we made a comparative study available from the literature, and we found that a few recent studies also there, like Balala et al. In 2013 and Wiping in 2012, and we found the clinical pregnancy rates are comparable with all other studies. However, the implantation rate was a bit higher in our study. We also made an observational study that and compared the duration of antagonist use and clinical pregnancy. And we found as the number of antagonist ampules were increasing, the number of pregnancies decreased. And we found in literature that the longer use of antagonist may impair the expression in the endometrial stromal cells and may impair the endometrial receptivity. In our result, we concluded that the clinical pregnancy rates tend to be high in the conversion IVF group, morbidity is low, and cost of the treatment is up to 30% less than the conventional IVF, and conversion of gonadotropin IUI cycles with excessive response to IVF using GnRH antagonist is a safe and cost-effective strategy that produces high results as regular IVF with relatively minimal morbidity and shorter duration to achieve pregnancy. Clinical pregnancy rates and implantation rates tend to be higher than those from hyper-responder regular IVF patients, and longer duration of antagonist use is associated with fewer pregnancies. Thank you very much.